Did you know there exists a sacred object entrusted by the Church and cherished by countless families, which serves as a guardian for the home against every assault of evil? Many possess it, yet do not understand its true purpose. And even more concerning, those who neglect it, leave a spiritual door open, exposing their loved ones to the harmful influences that threaten the peace and unity of the family. If you have recently sensed an accumulation of troubles, if the harmony of your home has given way to tension, illness, or unease, then listen with the heart, for this message brings a new light, a hope rooted in the enduring tradition of the Church. The pastoral gaze of the Holy Father has always been drawn to what is essential, reminding the faithful that simplicity, when lived with faith, becomes an immense source of grace. This is especially true with the Holy Rosary. The Rosary is not a mere ornament, nor a relic hung out of custom. It is a tool given by God, a shield, a true weapon of light capable of closing the way to any darkness seeking entry into the home. Many possess it without understanding, and those who do not possess it deprive their families of one of the deepest protections heaven has offered. Do you wish to discover how the Rosary can transform your life and your household, how it can seal your home with peace and open it to blessings? Before continuing, if you too have experienced the strength of this prayer, make an act of trust in your heart. Remain attentive, for here you will learn how the Holy Father has taught the faithful to wield this sacred tool with authentic faith. Everything begins with an interior decision. If you do not yet have a rosary, now is the moment to obtain one. If you already have one, it is time to examine whether you are using it as God, the Blessed Virgin, and the Church have taught. What you are about to receive may completely change your reality. Today, more than ever, these words come as a providential sign. We live in times when homes are under constant spiritual pressure, families fragment without apparent cause, and fear silently takes root in hearts, making all the more urgent the call of the Church to spiritual vigilance and unity. What follows is not a mere exhortation, but the fruit of deep contemplation and pastoral experience, confirmed by the lives of those who take seriously the spiritual protection of their homes. Simply placing a rosary in the home and praying with faith initiates a profound transformation. This object, blessed and prayed with devotion, has a real effect on the environment, as if opening a channel of light. Yet let it be clear, this message is not for inattentive ears. It is for those who understand that the soul of the family must be zealously protected, and that in the midst of storms the tools of heaven are more necessary than ever. Remain attentive, for not only will you learn about the effects of having a rosary in your home, but also about the invisible consequences of ignoring its value. The Church, in her wisdom, has witnessed countless spiritual experiences tied to this prayer, and these can help you make your home a spiritual fortress able to withstand any darkness. Few know that holy men and women of the Church have spent long nights in silence devoted to prayer, facing interior storms and spiritual challenges that required unwavering faith. And what was their shield? The Holy Rosary. In moments of intense spiritual struggle, the Rosary became for them a luminous defense. Each Hail Mary prayed with faith was like an arrow of light piercing the shadows, each bead shining like a star, forming a wall of light around them. This is not mere poetry, but a reality witnessed by the Church through the ages. Even more revealing than their personal experiences is what has been observed in the homes of those who embrace the Rosary as a daily act of love. Those with spiritual discernment have noted something astonishing. Homes where the Rosary is not just present, but prayed with devotion, develop a kind of spiritual field of protection. The Rosary is like a spiritual lightning rod for the home. Just as a lightning rod protects a house from storms, the Rosary acts as a conduit for divine protection, diverting and neutralizing the negative influences that seek to enter. There is something more known to few. When a family possesses a Rosary and uses it with faith, it creates what has been called a direct connection with the heart of Mary. This connection is not abstract or symbolic, but a real channel of grace and blessing that flows continually to the home and its inhabitants. Throughout years of ministry, the Church has witnessed countless transformations in families who have followed this counsel. Homes once filled with conflict begin to experience an inexplicable peace. Those suffering from anxiety and constant fear begin to feel a tranquility that no medicine could provide. But here comes an important warning. The Church has also observed something concerning in homes where the Rosary is treated as a mere decoration or amulet. The Rosary is not a lucky charm. It is an instrument of spiritual power that requires our active participation. This distinction is crucial to understanding what happens when we have a Rosary in the home. Soon you will learn exactly what has been observed in homes where the Rosary is ignored or misused. But first, 3 unmistakable signs are shared indicating that your Rosary is acting as a true shield of protection in your home. These signs are so clear that once known, you can immediately identify whether your home is receiving all the protection the Rosary can offer. The first sign is what has been called supernatural peace. This is not a mere feeling of calm, but a tangible manifestation of the presence of the Blessed Virgin in the home. It is characterized by 3 clear manifestations. First, an inexplicable calm that remains even in the midst of severe crises. Second, a sense of spiritual security enveloping the whole family. And third, a notable decrease in anxiety and fears that once dominated the home. The second sign is the transformation of the spiritual environment. When the Rosary is acting in its full power, the atmosphere of the home changes radically. The air becomes lighter, tensions dissipate without apparent explanation, and a protective presence is almost palpable. Family members notice that arguments lose their intensity before escalating as if an invisible force were neutralizing negative energies. Before revealing the third sign that completes this teaching on the Rosary, it is important to note that the Church has gathered and studied profound teachings on the power of the Rosary. Many of these teachings are so extensive and detailed that they cannot all be covered here. However, the essentials remain accessible to all who seek to deepen their understanding of this sacred practice. Returning to the main theme, the third and most powerful sign is what has been described as the shield of light. This manifestation appears in 3 distinct ways. First, through extraordinary protection against negative spiritual influences. Second, through providential interventions that prevent accidents or dangerous situations. And third, through a mysterious capacity for discernment that helps the family make correct decisions at crucial moments. It is fundamental to understand that these signs are not automatic. They do not appear simply by having a Rosary in the home. There is a specific way to activate this protective power, and many families unknowingly block these blessings by not following the right indications. Soon you will learn exactly what must be done for your Rosary to become that shield of protection described by the Church. But first, it is essential to understand the spiritual consequences of having a Rosary in the home and not using it properly. This warning is so serious that it may explain why some families, despite having several Rosaries, continue to experience spiritual disturbances. Now we arrive at one of the most serious warnings given by the Church regarding the Rosary. Having a Rosary in the home without using it properly is not a neutral act. It has spiritual consequences that must be known. The first warning refers to what has been called blocked protection. When the Rosary becomes a mere ornament hanging on the wall and gathering dust, a paradoxical situation arises. The very instrument that should be a channel of protection becomes a constant reminder of the graces being rejected. It is like having a powerful shield, but leaving it unused while facing daily battles unprotected. The second warning is even more serious. The enemy of souls has a specific tactic to make families feel secure simply because they possess a Rosary, even if they do not use it. This false security is extremely dangerous as it causes us to lower our spiritual guard. It is like believing we are protected just because we have a fire extinguisher at home without knowing how to use it or checking if it works. The third warning concerns missed opportunities. Every time we pass by a Rosary without using it every day, we let go without tapping into its power, we are missing specific graces that the Blessed Virgin wishes to pour out upon our family. These graces are not abstract, but concrete helps for the problems we face daily. The Church has been especially emphatic about one point: the unused Rosary becomes a silent witness to our spiritual indifference. In many homes, the Rosary is present, but the family suffers spiritual disturbances because they have fallen into the trap of routine seeing the Rosary every day without recognizing its real power. Yet here comes the hopeful part of the message. These consequences can be reversed immediately. No matter how long the rosary has gone unused in your home, its protective powers can be activated the moment you decide to give it the importance it deserves. The Blessed Virgin is waiting for this moment to unleash a torrent of blessings upon your family. In the coming section, you will learn exactly how to place and use the rosary in your home to maximize its protective power. The Church has left very specific instructions on this, and when families follow them, the results are extraordinary. But first, it is crucial to understand something about the power of the rosary in the times we are living. The Church has had a prophetic vision of our times, warning that there would come an era when families would face unprecedented spiritual attacks. A time when confusion, fear, and division would seek to destroy the peace of homes. Does this sound familiar? In our days, homes are under attack in ways described with astonishing precision. Anxiety has become a silent epidemic. Family conflicts intensify without apparent reason. Depression and discouragement knock at the doors of more and more homes. Spiritual disturbances have become so common that many consider them normal. It is precisely in this context that the power of the rosary becomes more necessary than ever. The Church teaches that the rosary is not just a prayer, but an instrument of spiritual power, especially designed for these difficult times. It functions as a multi-level system of protection for the home. The first level of protection acts upon the physical environment of the house. When the rosary is placed and used correctly, it creates a field of peace that neutralizes negative energies seeking to penetrate the home. Each Hail Mary strengthens an invisible barrier around the house. The second level protects the minds and hearts of the home's inhabitants. In an age where anxiety and fear spread like a virus, the rosary acts as a spiritual filter, purifying thoughts and calming emotions. Those who live in homes where the rosary is prayed regularly develop a remarkable resistance to negativity and discouragement. The third level, perhaps the most important for our days, is family protection. At a time when forces of division constantly attack families, the rosary acts as a powerful agent of unity. It creates a fabric of grace that keeps family members united even when external forces try to separate them. But here is something crucial. This triple power of the rosary is not activated automatically. There is a specific way to place it in your home and a particular manner to use it so that its protection is maximized. Soon you will learn exactly how to do this, following the precise instructions the Church has given to families. The Holy Father, inspired by the tradition of the Church and the lived experience of countless families, now offers concrete guidance so that every household may fully benefit from the protective and transformative power of the Holy Rosary. These instructions are not mere suggestions, but are rooted in the wisdom of the Church, shaped by centuries of prayer reflection and the witness of the saints. The first instruction concerns the placement of the rosary within the home. The rosary should be placed in the spiritual heart of the house, which is often the living room or the space where the family gathers most frequently. It should not be hidden away or treated as a mere decorative object, but rather given a place of honor, ideally on a small altar or in a sacred space prepared with care. This visible presence serves as a daily reminder of the family's commitment to prayer and unity, and it marks the home as a dwelling under the mantle of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The second instruction is about activating the rosary's protective power. It is essential that the rosary be blessed by a priest invoking the grace of God upon it. Yet this blessing is only the beginning. The true activation comes through the faith and devotion of the family. The rosary must be touched and prayed with reverence, not left unused. It is through regular heartfelt prayer that the rosary becomes a living channel of grace, a spiritual bond uniting the family with Mary and through her with Christ. The third instruction emphasizes the need for daily prayer. The Holy Father encourages every family to set aside a specific time each day to pray the rosary, even if it is only a single decade. What matters is not the quantity, but the quality and constancy of the prayer. A single mystery prayed with attention and love is more pleasing than an entire rosary recited in haste or distraction. The family that prays together, even briefly, weaves a fabric of grace that strengthens relationships and brings peace to the home. In preparing for prayer, the environment should be clean and orderly, and if possible, a blessed candle may be lit. This act of preparation signals the importance of the moment, setting it apart as a sacred encounter with the Mother of God. The time of prayer should not be treated as a routine task, but as a cherished appointment with Mary, who always leads us to her Son. A special instruction often overlooked is what the Holy Father calls the family activation of the Rosary. At least once a week, all members of the family should gather, each touching the Rosary as they pray a Hail Mary together. This simple gesture reinforces the unity of the family and the bond of protection that the Rosary provides. It is a sign that the family stands together under the maternal care of Mary, seeking her intercession for all their needs. Above all, the attitude with which the Rosary is approached is crucial. It must never be treated as a magical object or a superstition, but always as a sacred means of communion with God. Each time the Rosary is held or looked upon, it should be with the awareness that it connects the home directly to the heart of Mary and through her to the heart of Christ. The Holy Father assures the faithful that these instructions are not burdensome, but are a path to profound blessing. When followed with faith and perseverance, the promises associated with the Rosary are unfailing. The first promise is immediate protection. From the very first day a family begins to pray the Rosary according to these instructions, an invisible but real shield is established around the home. This protection is not gradual, but instantaneous, as if a spiritual switch has been activated, enveloping the family in the maternal embrace of Mary. The second promise is the gift of peace. In homes where the Rosary is prayed faithfully, there emerges what the Holy Father calls the phenomenon of progressive peace. Arguments lose their intensity, tensions resolve more quickly, and a harmony once thought impossible becomes a daily reality. This peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but the presence of Christ, the Prince of Peace who dwells where his mother is honored. The third promise is the prosperity of the household, not only in material terms, but in every aspect of family life. When the Rosary is at the center of the home, a channel of blessing is opened that touches relationships, opportunities, and the resolution of problems. The grace of God flows abundantly, transforming difficulties into occasions for growth and unity. A fourth promise extends the Rosary's protection beyond the walls of the home. Each member of the family, wherever they go, carries with them a share of this spiritual shield. The Holy Father likens it to a mantle of light that accompanies each person, guarding them from harm and guiding them in their daily lives. The fifth promise is interior transformation. Every person living in a home protected by the Rosary will experience a gradual but profound change in their spiritual life. Temptations lose their power, decisions become clearer, and faith is naturally strengthened. The Rosary, when prayed with love and perseverance, becomes a school of holiness, shaping hearts according to the example of Mary and the teachings of Christ. However, these promises are not automatic. They depend on the faithful and conscious use of the Rosary. The Holy Father reveals that the key to unlocking all the Rosary's power is what he calls transformative perseverance. This means not only praying the Rosary daily, but doing so with love, attention, and a living relationship with Mary and her Son. It is the difference between mechanical repetition and loving perseverance. Each Hail Mary prayed with faith is like a brick added to the spiritual fortress surrounding the family. Each day of faithful prayer adds a new layer of protection and grace. This perseverance has three essential qualities. The first is unwavering trust. Even when immediate results are not visible, the family must remain confident in the Rosary's power, knowing that transformation often occurs beneath the surface, like the growth of a tree whose roots run deep. The second quality is conscious attention. Every time the Rosary is taken in hand, it should be with the awareness that a supernatural power is being activated in the home. The third is family commitment. The Rosary is not just for one member, but for the whole family. Each person, even if only praying a single Hail Mary, should participate, for it is the shield of all. The Holy Father urges all families to embrace this path of transformative perseverance. It is the key that opens the door to all the promises of the Rosary. In times of anxiety, conflict and uncertainty, the Rosary is the weapon for these times, as so many saints have affirmed. It is not a relic of the past, but a living source of strength, unity and peace for today. Consider your own home and family. How often have you longed for greater protection, peace and harmony? The Rosary, perhaps already present in your home, is the answer to these prayers. The challenges facing families today are great, but the grace available through the Rosary is greater still. The time to act is now. Do not wait for difficulties to increase or for spiritual disturbances to intensify. The power of the Rosary is available at this very moment. The Holy Father encourages every family to take 3 steps first to find or obtain a Rosary and give it a place of honor in the home. Second, to share this message with others in need of protection, practicing spiritual charity. And third, to make a public act of faith, asking the Blessed Virgin to protect the home. In this way, the family joins a great communion of believers united in prayer and hope. The Rosary is not a theory, but a reality proven by generations of families who have experienced its power. It is a legacy of protection and spiritual strength available to all who take it seriously. May the Blessed Virgin, through the power of the Holy Rosary, place a mantle of protection over every home and family. May each Hail Mary be a shield of light, guarding all loved ones and drawing them ever closer to Christ. In the light of the Church's wisdom, the Holy Father now wishes to address the most common obstacles that prevent the faithful from experiencing the full spiritual fruits of the Rosary. These obstacles are not merely practical difficulties, but often subtle spiritual errors that can render the Rosary less effective in the life of the family and the individual. The Pope, drawing from the tradition and teaching of the Church, offers both correction and encouragement so that all may approach this prayer with renewed faith and understanding. The first and most frequent error is to treat the Rosary as a mere object of superstition, a charm or talisman that brings protection simply by its presence. The Church has always warned against such magical thinking, reminding the faithful that the Rosary is a sacred instrument of prayer, not an amulet. Its power is found in the living faith of those who pray it, not in the material of its beads. The Rosary, when used only as an ornament or carried without prayer, loses its true meaning and becomes a silent witness to neglect. The Pope urges all to remember the words of Christ. This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Matthew 15:8. The Rosary is a call to communion with God, not a substitute for it. A second error is the temptation to pray the Rosary hastily, as if it were a task to be completed rather than a sacred encounter. The Church teaches that every prayer should be offered with attention and reverence. The Rosary in particular invites the faithful to meditate on the mysteries of Christ's life and the loving presence of Mary. When prayed with haste, the prayer becomes a mere recitation of words, lacking the depth of meditation and the openness to grace. The Holy Father recalls the example of Mary, who kept all these things, pondering them in her heart. Luke 2:19. The Rosary is most fruitful when each Hail Mary is offered as a rose, carefully and lovingly, not thrown carelessly. A third obstacle is the tendency to use the Rosary solely for material petitions, reducing it to a list of requests for temporal needs. While it is good and right to bring our needs before God, the Rosary is primarily a means of conforming our hearts to the will of Christ and the example of Mary. The Holy Father reminds the faithful of the words of Jesus, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given you as well." Matthew 6:33. When the Rosary is prayed with a heart open to God's will, material blessings follow, but the greatest gift is the transformation of the soul. A fourth error is to pray the Rosary mechanically without attention or interior participation. The Church warns that such routine can lead to spiritual dryness and discouragement. The Pope encourages all to use practical means to maintain focus, such as meditating on the scenes of the mysteries, visualizing the events of the Gospel, or pausing briefly between prayers to recollect the heart. The Rosary is not a mere repetition, but a school of contemplation where the soul learns to listen to God and to imitate the virtues of Jesus and Mary. A fifth and particularly serious error is to substitute the Rosary for the Holy Mass or the sacraments. The Holy Father, echoing the teaching of his predecessors, affirms that the Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life. The Rosary prepares the heart to receive Christ in the sacraments, but it cannot replace them. The Pope invites all to see the Rosary as a path that leads to the altar, not as a destination in itself. Participation in the Mass and the sacraments is the foundation of Catholic life. The Rosary is its adornment and support. A sixth error is to forget the spiritual combat that is part of Christian life. The Rosary is not only a prayer of contemplation, but also a weapon against the powers of darkness. The Church has always taught that the Christian life is a struggle against sin and evil, and the Rosary is a powerful means of protection. The Pope encourages all to pray the Rosary with the intention of spiritual defense, invoking the intercession of Mary, who crushes the head of the serpent. Genesis 3:15. Each Hail Mary is a blow against the forces that seek to divide and destroy the family and the community. A seventh obstacle is to pray the Rosary without a clear intention, allowing the mind to wander and the prayer to lose direction. The Holy Father recommends that each Rosary be offered for a specific intention, whether for peace in the family, the healing of a loved one, the needs of the Church, or the conversion of sinners. This focus not only strengthens the prayer, but also unites the family in a common purpose, fostering solidarity and mutual support. The eighth and most subtle error is to pray without love. The Pope teaches that love is the soul of all prayer. Without love, the Rosary becomes an empty shell, lacking the power to transform the heart. The Church invites all to begin each Rosary with an act of love, asking Mary to teach us to pray as she prayed, to love as she loved. The Rosary, when prayed with love, becomes a channel of mercy, a source of healing, and a bond of fraternity that unites the family and the community in Christ. To help the faithful overcome these obstacles, the Holy Father proposes a simple but profound path of renewal. For 7 days, each person is invited to focus on one aspect of the Rosary, correcting errors and deepening the practice. Day 1. Approach the Rosary as a living encounter, not a mere object. Hold it with reverence, kiss the cross, and pray with intention. Day 2. Slow down the prayer, savoring each word and meditating on its meaning. Let the Rosary be a time of rest and reflection. Day 3. Offer the Rosary for the transformation of the heart, not only for material needs. Seek first the kingdom of God. Day 4. Practice attentive prayer using imagination and contemplation to enter into the mysteries. Day 5. Attend Mass if possible, or unite spiritually with the Church's liturgy, seeing the Rosary as preparation for the sacraments. Day 6. Pray with a spirit of combat, invoking Mary's protection against all that threatens the family and the community. Day 7. Formulate a clear intention and renew the act of love at the beginning and throughout the Rosary, making it a true offering of the heart. This path is not a burden, but a gift, a way to rediscover the Rosary as a source of grace, unity, and peace. The Pope assures the faithful that perseverance in this practice will bear fruit not only in personal holiness, but in the renewal of families and communities. The Rosary is a school of faith, a wellspring of hope, and a bond of charity that draws all closer to Christ and to one another. The Holy Father concludes this teaching with a call to share these insights with others, especially those who may be struggling or in need of encouragement. To teach another to pray the Rosary well is to offer a key that opens the doors of heaven. The Pope invites all to become apostles of the Rosary, spreading its message of peace, justice, and mercy to a world in need. May the Blessed Virgin Mary, through the power of the Holy Rosary, protect every home, heal every wound, and unite every heart in the love of Christ. May each Hail Mary be a seed of hope, a shield of light, and a song of praise that rises from the family to the throne of God. The Holy Rosary, deeply rooted in the Catholic tradition, stands as a powerful sacramental, a source of grace and spiritual protection for families and individuals alike. The Church, through the wisdom of the popes and the testimony of the saints, reveals that the Rosary is not only a prayer, but a spiritual weapon against the forces of evil that seek to disrupt the peace and unity of the domestic Church. St. John Paul II, in his apostolic letter Rosarium Virginis Mariae, emphasized the importance of the family rosary. He recognized that in modern times, families often struggle to find moments to come together in prayer. Yet the rosary offers an opportunity to unite hearts around the mysteries of salvation. When a family prays the rosary together, it recreates the atmosphere of the Holy Family of Nazareth, placing Jesus at the center of daily life. This unity through prayer fosters strength, hope, and the grace needed to face the challenges of the world. The rosary's power is also reflected in the numerous promises Our Lady made to those who faithfully pray it, as revealed through the apparitions at Fatima and other Marian apparitions. Among these promises, the rosary is described as a powerful armor against hell, capable of destroying vice, diminishing sin, and defeating heresies. It causes virtue and good works to flourish and obtains abundant mercy from God. Most profoundly, the soul that recommends itself to Mary through the rosary shall not perish, a promise that underscores the rosary's role in salvation and sanctification. The rosary invites the faithful to meditate on the life of Christ through the eyes of Mary, deepening their relationship with Jesus. This meditation transforms the prayer from mere repetition into a living encounter with the mysteries of faith. Each decade is a journey into the Gospel where the faithful contemplate the joyful, sorrowful, glorious, and luminous mysteries, allowing the grace of these events to penetrate their hearts and homes. In the context of family life, the rosary serves as a prayer of healing, intercession, and deliverance. It is a source of strength for marriages and families who daily face trials that require sacrifice, forgiveness, and love. The Rosary, by focusing on the gospel mysteries, reveals the victorious Lamb of God who loves and saves. Through this prayer, families receive the grace to embody mercy and reconciliation, mirroring the love of Christ in their relationships. The Church teaches that the family is the domestic church, a small community where faith is nurtured and lived. The Rosary as a family devotion supports this mission by fostering spiritual communion and unity. It helps families to grow in holiness, to forgive, and to support one another in the journey of faith. The Blessed Virgin Mary, as Mother and Queen of the family, intercedes powerfully for all who turn to her with trust and devotion. Moreover, the Rosary complements the centrality of the Eucharist in family life. The Mass is the source and summit of Christian existence, and the Rosary prepares the heart to receive Christ in the Eucharist more fully. It is a spiritual path that leads the faithful to the altar, deepening their participation in the sacramental life of the Church. San Padre Pio, a great devotee of the Rosary, called it the weapon for these times. He encouraged the faithful to pray it often and well, recognizing that the Rosary is a spiritual sword that protects from temptation and evil. This conviction echoes the Church's teaching that all graces pass through the hands of the Blessed Mother, who intercedes tirelessly for her children. The Rosary's accessibility is another of its great gifts. It requires only a simple string of beads and a willing heart. It is a prayer for all ages and states of life, rich in symbolism and grace. Through regular prayer of the Rosary, the faithful are drawn into a rhythm of contemplation that softens hearts, strengthens faith, and opens souls to God's transforming love. In times of suffering and uncertainty, the Rosary becomes an anchor. It quiets the mind, calms anxiety, and invites the faithful to unite their sufferings with those of Christ. The sorrowful mysteries in particular offer comfort by reminding believers that Jesus understands their pain and walks with them in their trials. The Rosary also unites the Catholic community worldwide. When prayed, it joins millions of voices in a powerful bond of faith and intercession. This unity transcends borders and generations, creating a spiritual communion that supports the Church's mission and brings about renewal and peace. In light of these truths, the Holy Father calls all families to embrace the Rosary as a daily practice, a source of protection, healing, and grace. He encourages the faithful to place the Rosary at the heart of their homes, to pray it with love and attention, and to persevere in this devotion. Through the Rosary, families are strengthened to live out their vocation as domestic churches, witnesses of faith, hope, and charity in the world. May the Blessed Virgin Mary, through the power of the Holy Rosary, cover every family with her maternal protection. May each prayer be a step closer to her Son Jesus Christ and a source of peace and unity in every home. The Holy Father, reflecting on the enduring wisdom of the Church and the lived experience of the faithful, concludes this pastoral message by inviting every family to rediscover the Rosary as a wellspring of grace, unity, and protection. In an age marked by division, anxiety, and the erosion of spiritual values, the Rosary emerges as a beacon of hope, drawing hearts together and anchoring families in the love of Christ. The Rosary, when prayed with faith and perseverance, offers families a pathway to peace that transcends mere human understanding. As countless testimonies reveal, the act of gathering to pray, the Rosary transforms the home into a sanctuary of calm. The repetitive, meditative rhythm of the prayers soothes troubled minds, dispels fear, and opens the heart to the healing presence of God. Even when external circumstances remain unchanged, the grace of the Rosary enables families to bear their burdens with dignity, optimism, and inner strength. This sacred prayer also fosters reconciliation and forgiveness within the family. Meditating on the mysteries of Christ's life, especially his passion, gently invites each member to reflect on their own struggles and wounds. In the light of Christ's mercy, misunderstandings and conflicts are softened, pride gives way to humility, and the desire for healing is awakened. The Rosary thus becomes a school of compassion, teaching the virtues of patience, courage, and obedience to God's will. Virtues that are essential for building a community rooted in justice and fraternity. Moreover, the Rosary serves as a spiritual shield, placing the family under the maternal protection of the Blessed Virgin Mary. As the Church has always taught, Mary intercedes tirelessly for her spiritual children, and those who entrust themselves to her care are never left unaided. The Rosary is a powerful weapon in the battle against the forces that threaten the peace and unity of the home. It is a source of courage in times of fear, a light in moments of darkness, and a refuge in the face of adversity. The promises associated with the faithful recitation of the Rosary are many and profound. Our Lady has assured the Church that those who pray the Rosary will receive special protection and abundant graces. The Rosary is described as a powerful armor against evil, a means of destroying vice, fostering virtue, and drawing souls closer to God. Above all, the Rosary is a sure path to holiness, for it leads the faithful ever deeper into the mysteries of Christ, seen through the loving gaze of his mother. The Holy Father echoes the words of his predecessors, affirming that the Rosary is not a substitute for the sacraments, but a complement to them. It prepares the heart to receive the grace of the Eucharist and extends the fruits of the liturgy into daily life. The family that prays the Rosary together is strengthened to live out its vocation as the domestic church, a community of faith, hope, and charity that radiates the light of Christ to the world. Praying the Rosary as a family is not always easy. The demands of modern life, the distractions of technology, and the inevitable tensions of daily living can make it difficult to gather in prayer. Yet the Holy Father encourages families to persevere, even if only a single decade can be prayed together. Each effort, however small, is precious in the eyes of God. The simple act of putting aside other concerns to pray as a family is itself a witness to the power of faith and the primacy of God in daily life. As the Church has long proclaimed, the family that prays together stays together. This simple truth, championed by holy pastors and lived by generations of Catholics, remains as relevant today as ever. The Rosary is a gift entrusted by the Church to every family, a legacy of protection, healing, and unity that endures through every trial. In closing, the Holy Father offers a prayer for all families. May the Blessed Virgin Mary, Queen of the Rosary and Mother of the Church, wrap every home in her mantle of protection. May each Hail Mary prayed with faith and love become a shield of light for every family member, a source of peace in times of trouble, and a bond of unity that cannot be broken. May the grace of the Rosary renew hearts, heal wounds, and inspire all to live in justice, mercy, and solidarity. Let every family inspired by the example of Nazareth become a living witness to the gospel, a sanctuary of hope and a sign of God's love in the world. Under the guidance of the Holy Father and the maternal care of Mary, May the Rosary continue to be a path of transformation, drawing all closer to Christ, the Prince of Peace. If this message has touched your heart, consider sharing it with those in need of encouragement, and let the Rosary become the heartbeat of your home. May God bless you, and may Mary, our Mother, always accompany you on the journey of faith.